Hi everyone. Okay, so I am back. I wanted to do one final reading on CK as it relates to the question of how does that fit into to the larger picture and our ascension, right? So I shuffled the cards with that question in mind. How does his death fit into the larger picture and our ascension? And the first card up was the Virgo card. And we know, I think that this card came up in one of the other readings I did on him too. And we know that Virgo is all about information, right? Lots of information. It's ruled by the planet of Mercury. This is talking about info coming out. This is also talking about making sense of that information and knowing, what's accurate and what's not. And so we've gotten tons of info in the recent days that doesn't quite add up if you are paying attention. And I guess if you are not, under the orange blob's spell, right? But we saw the video with the wife and it was all too creepy and weird and terrible in terms of her acting. And we saw the texts, the alleged texts, and I just want to say that this is for entertainment purposes only. There are no threats being made or anything else. But we saw the text and none of that adds up, right? And so we're getting a ton of information, and I even saw across the internet where some red hats were questioning the details, like not totally buying it. So this is where Virgo comes into play. We've also got a Virgo, an eclipse happening in Virgo on the 21st, I believe, and a new moon. So this card, I feel, is like, hey, pay attention to the information that is before you. The second card is Chiron, and so we know this card as the wounded healer because that was the story. Chiron went around healing people but could not heal his own wounds, and so he got the nickname the wounded healer. And so I feel like this card is representing our ascension in this spread, because right next to it we've then got the contrast that we're feeling. And this card came up in one of my other readings too, that Scorpio card, which is all about the hidden secrets, darkness, sexual overtones, the underworld. It's ruled by, its old ruler was Mars, and now its newer, more modern ruler is Pluto. And so we know Mars is the god of war, the planet of action, of domination, and Pluto is all about deep transformation and what's hidden in the shadows, right? And so when we have these cards together, this is feeling very much like the two realities that we are straddling. We are doing our best to stay focused on where we're going, but these forces, the contrast that we're feeling and seeing, it's kind of overshadowing things sometimes, right? And it's hard to remember that, yes, this is where we're going, giving all of the things that are happening in the 3D, if we are paying attention closely and reading them headlines, which maybe we don't need to always do, right? Sometimes it makes it hard to see the forest for the trees. And it's beneficial to our nervous system and to our well-being to kind of take the step back and look at the bigger picture of where we're headed instead, right? Because we are on a serious journey here, but we have to heal ourselves, so to speak, in order to get where we're going, right? And by heal ourselves, I mean heal our society. Think about what it is that we really want, that larger picture. And I do also remember, so there was some months ago where I was chatting with my guides, and they gave me this image of a dark line that represented everything that was, quote, bad, right? All of the heavy, dark, negative, vile, just, terrible power dynamics that exist in the United States that are at the foundation of the U.S. and that have been the point of tension around the globe since eons, right? So that line, once it intersects with things that are, quote, good, higher vibrational, that 5D energy that we're moving towards, and also better things in the 3D, right? Resources being better, not living to work, having more community, coming together and building together the visions that we want to see in the world. When this darker, heavier line that was never intended to begin with, right? It represents like all of the binaries that we've been living within that are not natural. The black, white, the man versus woman, the domination over women and their bodies throughout history and throughout so many countries. And so when that line intersects with the higher vibrational line of our ascension, then it loses its power. It loses its power, and it eventually withers away. And so I know that sounds probably too good to be true, because we've always had the good and the bad, right? And some people believe you can't have the good without the bad. But I don't think that that's true either. That was never the intention either. Earth was intended to be not only a school, but a playground where we came down into this physical experience and really had the physical experience of enjoying our highest consciousnesses, right? Play it out in the flesh. And so we've gotten away from that. Humanity has, because of all of the trickery, all of the need for power and domination. That was never really the original intent. And so here it is. And if we continue to turn our attention towards the things that we truly want and that we know are possible, especially during this eclipse, right, punctuated by that Virgo card coming out, when these lines intersect, because oh my goodness, they are so close, which is why we are feeling it and seeing it so clearly in front of us right now, then this begins to lose its power. And we're seeing that that's happening already, because going back to my question, what did Charlie Kirk's death have to do with the larger picture and our ascension? We're seeing it already, because them losing power, because of all of the orchestrated details and facts that they've been circulating around, and how they've ramped up the rhetoric since his death, and how it feels all too planned, right? Like this was all too planned. So you can also take a deeper look at this and think about how humanity has gotten on throughout different time periods, different civilizations, and how it has always survived regardless of what has happened, what has gone down that mankind has created, right? And so that's a little bit of what this card is coming through saying too. Like, hey, we're kind of doing a similar thing here. We are really attempting to allow ourselves to evolve collectively, but we've got this stuff weighing us down. And one of those elements or aspects is history kind of repeating itself. in terms of how civilizations rise and how they fall and how things die off, but how the earth endures regardless, right? And so we got to make some choices. I do feel like we're getting to the point where folks are going to jump ship if they see, oh, the ship is sinking, and they may be on this line that kind of peters out, right? Some of us made the decision a long time ago. Some of us came in to help other people make the decision. So there's no stopping that train for a lot of us, but for many others, well, this time is going to be really tricky for them to navigate. And I mentioned it before. It's like, we're out here in the in-between, in the abyss, in the unknown between these two realities, trying our best to navigate and find our way. And some people just don't have much experience being in a place like that. Right? But luckily for us, here comes the cardinal sign, and this becomes our push that we need. It's almost like Virgo's coming in. That Virgo moon, is it the full moon or the new moon? I've kind of got it confused now in my head. I think it's the new moon. The Virgo new moon is coming in to be like, hey, here's the push that you need. So with this cardinal sign, it's all about starting something new. Here's where a new story begins. It happens at the beginning of each season, right? And we've got the fall equinox on the 22nd. That is technically the start of the new year, which is not January 1st, but that's when we celebrate it. And so September is a really important month and an important new start, right? It also gives us like that refresh to continue on. It gives us the push to step out into the unknown the way that we need to, and as we are straddling these two realities, right? And it's a little uncomfortable, but it gives us the push to continue on and to say, nope, we got it. And here's the story that we want to write next. But with that said, they're also doing the same thing, right? My question is, how does Charlie Kirk's death fit into the larger context of what's going on in our ascension? So they're doing the same thing, these dark forces. And last time that this card came up, it felt like it was representing, like, here are all the secrets lying in wait, right? That would later be revealed, right? So they're doing everything that they can to conceal these secrets and to stay in power. And they even have his memorial set on the 21st, which is the eclipse, right? And so don't think for a second that that wasn't intentional as well. They know how potent these astrological events are. I am certain of it. Most people who are witchy at all are certain of it, right? And so they're doing the same thing. They're trying to get their push too. They're trying to renew the spell that they've got over people, right? By amassing a larger following, by usurping whatever's possible of CK's power that they can, and his followers as well, right? So they've got their plans too. But this is also giving us a fighting chance with our ascension, with holding on to the light, holding on to the future that we want. And then there's the card on the bottom of the deck, and it's the Earth card. And in the context of it being an element, we know that this deals with practical things, with earthly matters, right? with resources and finances and possessions and all the things that are grounded and rooted in physical reality. But we've also got the earth itself. And Mother Earth has been talking to us for a very long time, wondering, hey, are y'all going to listen? Are y'all paying attention to how you're treating me? Because I've got some things set up here. If you don't pay attention and don't make some changes, I'm going to be forced to make some changes. And so that's happening right alongside everything else that's going on, right? It's embedded in this card. It's a part of this reality where they ignore the changes to the environment that have been happening for many years. And it's also a part of our ascension where we give more attention to the changes to the environment that have been happening for many years so that we can reroute the direction that we're headed, right? And so I feel like this card is also telling us, reminding us of the importance to get back in rhythm with the earth, right? To help balance things out. The earth is self-regenerating. It doesn't need us, but we need it. Yeah, I'm going to pull just a clarifier or two. Whoops, that's too many. Way too many. Just going to pull a clarifier and see what. I feel like that card wanted to come out, but I didn't give it room. All right, a clarifier. What does CK's death have to do with a larger message? What does CK's death have? How does CK's death fit in to the bigger picture and our ascension? So here we go. Okay, so we've got a sextile and an 8. Sextile is talking about reciprocity. It's kind of like that. You get what you give, right? It's talking about the law, I guess if we want to put it in these terms, the law of attraction, but also the law of resonance. And the law of resonance speaks to, you don't only get what you give, you get who you are too, right? When we think about it like that, it can amplify this card that's representing our ascension, right? In terms of, we just got to put it out there, and we just really have to believe, right? We've got to believe that it's possible, because it is. And then also though, because it's sitting next to, so this sextile card came out with the 8 card, kind of emphasizing that Scorpio energy. They're doing the same thing. They're over there trying to make use of what their dark, dirty magic is to get the things that they are putting out, right? To continue to grow stronger in their abilities to dominate. And in some ways it does look like it's working, because we've even got media networks, the large ones, that have been pretty much silenced in these last couple of days here, that have been, you know, receiving ongoing threats, I guess. But here's the last card that came out, the Aquarius card, that says they can try. They can try if they want to, and clearly they want to. They're going to keep trying, which is why we're at this juncture, which is why we're in the in-between of these two realities, because they are trying. They are trying, right? But we're going here regardless. The age of Aquarius. we were in Aquarius earlier this year, and then we transited out back into Capricorn and Pluto, something like that, so we could take a fine-tooth comb through things and see exactly what needed to be changed. It needed to develop and evolve the way that it has in order for people to come to realizations that they never would have come to about their beliefs and what they were supporting, and all the things, right? We know the story. We are living through it. But this is still where we're headed. Towards the end of this year, I believe, I could be wrong about that, when we swing back into Aquarius. I'm not an astrologer, but I believe it's at the end of this year when we swing back, and that feeling was all about connection. It was all about harmony. It was all about getting back to Mother Earth. It was all about those 5D fields and us collectively ascending together, right? So this is where we're going. There ain't no stopping that train. It doesn't matter really how many readings I do on it. I tune in to the guides. I see the same unfolding, and although it looks really bad because we are right up against both of these, we are still headed in the same direction. So they have pretty much taken out, for entertainment purposes only, pretty much taken out CK for their agenda to usurp power where they can, keep things hidden, amplify their messaging and their domination. They're going to fight tooth and nail. We already knew that. We already knew it was going to get worse. But we're still headed here regardless. So I encourage you this September 21st and this fall equinox, the eclipse on the 21st and the equinox on the 22nd, to be the push that you need to reset yourself and to, keep envisioning what it is that you want for the world moving forward, because we will get there. It's inevitable. There's no way around it. And even if we decide based upon free will that it's not possible and we can't do it, well, Mother Earth is coming in and be like, you definitely are. Even if you don't think you can, it's going to happen one way or the other. And so that part of things is inevitable. But they will be grasping for power as they are already. And so this eclipse might very well be a moment where they attempt to kind of reinstate, right, their level of dominance and likability and power over people, however they feel they can. Yeah, they're already attempting to do that. But this is feeling, like I said, if you are witchy at all and you know anything about rituals, not that I know much about any sort of dark magic or anything, but it's feeling a little, it's giving them vibes, right? It really is. So during this time, though, make sure that you are also envisioning what it is that you want, because that counterbalances what's happening over here with them. And I know it sounds cheesy, and I know you're probably tired of hearing about it, but it's true. You don't know what else to do this eclipse. Write down all the things that you want to let go of, and the things that you want to call in. Do a gratitude rant. Clean your house. Organize things. Delete old digital files. Create the space in the new containers for your transformation to have somewhere to land. Right? Those are the things that you can do in all of that, because we got to heal ourselves, right? That was the story and the message behind the wounded healer, Chiron. Turn that healing inward. And so we've always got to go and start here first. What can you shore up? Ask yourself that question. If you're a praying person, what can you pray on? What intentions can you set? This eclipse, right, on the 21st. And moving into the fall equinox, where, the start of the season happens. The start of the season and that new year. What do you want to see here? Because if all of us who know where we're headed are at home taking care of ourselves and connecting with each other, imagine how impactful, imagine how much energy that creates. So, all right, I'll leave it there. I love when I do a reading and it still confirms and reaffirms where we're headed. Just look at this card. It's so dreamy-like. We know that Aquarius is inventive, it's eccentric, it's quirky, but it's also political. And so I love that this is where we are headed. It feels fresh, it feels new, it feels like a resurgence of energy. And it also gives me a sense that we will have something to celebrate not so far off in the future.